Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us at the final of our 3 Lunch and Learn series sessions of Put Your Oxygen Mask On First, Thriving Through the Postpartum Period, presented by the Newton-Wellesley Hospital Maternity Services Council. Today's session will focus on the social changes that come with the birth of a baby. Please note that we will be recording the keynote speaker's presentation, but we'll stop the recording during the Q&A so panelists and audience members are comfortable asking and answering sensitive questions. Please feel free to type any questions you may have into the Q&A feature anytime during the presentations. And following this session, all registrants will receive an email with a copy of the recording, as well as relevant community resources. It is now my pleasure to introduce today's presenters. Angela Rostami first became enthralled with birth when she helped deliver her first cow as a 7-year-old. And I did say cow. Eventually, this transitioned to supporting human birth. And in 2004, she became a volunteer doula at Beth Israel Hospital in New York City. She graduated from Yale University as a midwife in 2009 and has been lovingly providing care as a midwife in the Boston area since then. She currently leads the Post-Partum Mothers Group at Newton-Wellesley Hospital and also works as a hospitalist, providing care to women and their families in labor and delivery and the postpartum periods at Newton-Wellesley Hospital and Mass General Hospital. She believes that birth does not end with the delivery of the baby, and that all women and their families should be supported beyond the delivery, more so now than ever. Alice Hales has been a member of the Newton-Wellesley Hospital Maternity Services Council since 2018. She also serves on the Newborn Medicine and Reproductive Health Advisory Board at Brigham and Women's Hospital. She is an attorney and a member of the Massachusetts Bar, who is currently at home with her 4 children, ages 6, 4, 2, and 7 months. Katie Tutlis is a mother of a 6-month-old girl. She transitioned to part-time work following the birth of her daughter and works at a hospital as a physical therapist. She lives in Sudbury with her partner, Eric. I will now turn the program over to Angela for our feature presentation.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm going to share my screen. Can everybody see this?
Yep, you're all set, Angela.
Super. Well, I am just so grateful that you're all here thinking about preparing for your postpartum life. It's going to be amazing. Many of you have probably already seen the prior 2 presentations, which were on the physical and emotional changes that happen in the postpartum period. Today, we're taking a bite out of thriving through the postpartum period by preparing for some of the social changes that come along with having a baby or babies. And I want to give a huge thank you to Alice Hales and Katie Tutlis, who are lending us their stories and their wisdom today. And I see Tasha Lamarca is also on, so she may pipe in, I don't know. Let's see, moving. So first of all, if you're here, you're likely looking forward to the birth of a baby or babies. Congratulations, it's going to be the best. When you first find out you're pregnant, there are so many plans and things to think about. You're already thinking about this, so yay for you. But some of those things that we have to think about are like pregnancy tests and ultrasound. This is one of my babies. The genetic testing, the nursery, that's my daughter's, to have a doula or not, names, baby shower, one of mine or mine, I think you only have one. Newton-Wellesley has amazing childbirth ed classes, maybe even childcare. What I'm going to talk about today isn't quite as concrete or exciting as a lot of these topics, but I would argue it's actually more important. Although, as you can see, I certainly found time for most of the other stuff too. We are going to talk about relationships. So I'm going to say that it's really hard to know how it's going to feel and how all the people in your life are going to respond to the new addition. But I'd like to invite you to start to think about it and talk about the things that are important to you and how that fits with how the other people around you feel. The pictures on the screen are largely pictures of my people. So, just know that you're not alone in this. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into a few of these relationships over the next few slides, but this is by no means a complete list. This is a huge thinking, and we're going to just kind of touch the tip of the iceberg. You may be disappointed with the change that happens with some relationships, and you will likely be filled with joy with others. So I'm inviting you to talk about what your priorities are, what you foresee your needs being, how you can support the others around you with their needs, what boundaries you foresee needing and possibly needing help advocating for. I'm going to tell you, you're going to hear the word communication during this presentation about 800 times. It's important. Have open and honest communication, and I promise everyone will feel better. Please do not forget that if your bucket is empty, you cannot be the best parent you can be. So think about, how do you fill your bucket? Do you like to read? Do you like to get your nails done? Take luxurious bath soaks? Listen to music with the volume on full, driving down the highway? How does your partner fill their bucket? This is a book that my kids love. It's a kid's book, but it really kind of talks about the idea of filling your bucket and how that makes you feel in the world. Lastly, the choices you make are the best ones for your family, and you can always change your mind. I think it's always good to keep that in mind, is that you can change your mind. How do we get forward? There we go. So we're going to talk about work. Or did I go to? Yeah. We're going to talk about visitors first, and visiting. Give your visitors clear guidelines about what time they can come. Set expectations, set boundaries, when they can stay. If they're lingering, excuse yourself to feed the baby. No matter how you're feeding the baby, this actually works. Don't get out of your pajamas. I know that sounds weird, but if you do, people expect cheese and crackers, and it's just a whole thing. Make a list of all the chores that need doing in your house. Walk the dog, wash the dishes, clean the bathroom. That way, when someone says, "How can I help?" you can simply say, "Go take a look at the list, choose something, then come and sit and visit with me." You'll be amazed. People will wash your bathroom for you. Amazing. Remember that people actually get hits of the feel-good hormone dopamine when they do something to help you. They want to help. It makes them feel good. So you're doing them a favor. And don't be afraid to throw your friendly neighborhood midwife or OB or pediatrician under the bus if you need a bad guy. My pediatrician wants us to only have people touch the baby's toes and not the baby's face. Or they told us only to do visits with masks on, or whatever. Go for it. We don't care. It's okay to set family rules. I'm going to actually ask Katie in a few minutes to tell you about how she and her partner have developed their family rules. It's super. But I also want to remind you, it's okay to change them if they're not working, or if the situation changes, or even have different rules for different people. Totally cool. And it's also okay to sometimes just let it go. If Aunt Harriet wants to put the onesie on the baby that she bought, even though you think it's the most ugly thing on the planet, and it doesn't annoy the baby, or the baby actually needs a fresh onesie, it's maybe okay to let her do it. Just let it go. As the song goes. My daughter will tell you. Work. Your outside the home job. First of all, think about what your plans will be and what has worked for others in your profession. Think about whether you want to return to your job. If you do you want to be full-time or part-time? Do you have the option to work flexible hours? Value yourself and do not give away your work for free. Have conversations with others who have done this before. Have conversations with your boss about it. Many people pre-baby have fewer boundaries with work. Know that it's actually okay to have boundaries. In this age of cell phones and access to work email all the time, it's just hard to have those very clear cut boundaries, but you can work on them. Let's talk about leaves from work. Again, just think about what you want and what's available. About a year and a half ago, Massachusetts enacted a law that gives many parents of any sex up to 12 weeks of at least partially paid leave. This is the phone number, Department of Family and Medical Leave phone number. They actually answer the phone, which is amazing. And the company you work for may also have various leaves. Ask them in advance what those are. Figure out what you kind of are thinking about doing. And then start to think about what you might want to do for childcare. Look at costs in your area, if there are wait lists. Who can you call in a pinch? Do relatives or friends want to help? Do they live close by? What can they actually do? Do you want them to help? And finally, know that you may feel differently about work after you have the baby, and that is fine. You are always allowed to change your mind. You're always allowed to try it one way and realize that does not work, and then try it a different way. Talk to people. Here's a big one. You're a partner. Let's talk about your relationship with your partner. You're going to go from one type of family unit to a completely different kind. For me, it felt this way. For you, it might feel a different way. It felt to me like we were two people who lived in absolute union and yet kind of as parallels. Once our kids were born, we suddenly were truly and utterly like entwined. And we had to be a unified front and make decisions that weren't just about us anymore. Here's kind of a silly example, but this is real life. My husband and I could not compromise on how warm to keep our room when sleeping. I like it warm, he likes it cold. Previous to the baby, this was fine. I threw on an extra blanket on my side. When the baby came, I had to have the room 71 degrees because otherwise I was certain the baby was going to freeze. And my wonderful, super amazing husband had to have the room 66 degrees because, well, because. Of course, this conversation had to happen at 3 a.m., which is never a good time to have a conversation, it turns out. Also, it turns out he was right on the optimum sleeping temperature for babies. So, there's that. But I digress. My point is that it's the most incredible bonding moment when you have this new baby. I've never felt more in love with my partner than watching him rock one of our babies, but it also has some sticky points. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Communication is key. Think about what you might want to communicate out as a family as well. Holidays and visiting and gifts and nap schedules, etc. This doesn't all need to happen now, like in this minute, but just think about your general feelings on the topic and start to have the conversation and open those communication doors between you. Another frequent sticking point with partners is the weight that one parent, so this is the invisible weight of the responsibility of decision making. This is often the birthing partner, and often they feel weighed down by the responsibilities of decision making. I'm going to say it again, communication is key. Talk about it. Even if one of you has had years of nannying experience and the other has never diapered a baby, that doesn't necessarily mean that one partner has all the answers and wants to make all of the decisions. They definitely probably don't want to make all the decisions, although maybe they do. The invisible weight issue is similar, but it's sort of different from the division of household chores, which is why I put them on sort of separate lines. I usually tell my patients to make a list of all the things that need to be done in the house every day. Sort of like the list, could be the same list as the visitors are getting. Walk the dog, wash dishes, run the laundry, write thank you notes. It's also, this list is also true for people that live in the house sometimes, or it can be helpful to at least have the mental list. This book is a book that actually Allie suggested. It's called Fair Play. There's also a card game that can sort of help this conversation along. And finally, communicate. So I'm going to tell you another one of my stories. And I was, just set the scene, sitting on the couch nursing a cranky baby, desperately hungry, desperately thirsty. I called the thirst from that I got when I was nursing desert milk. It was so intense. Just far enough away from any entertainment that I couldn't reach it. Staring into the kitchen at the pile of dirty dishes in the sink. When again, my amazing husband, who's now over in the kitchen making himself something, so this is also apropos, walks into the kitchen, sticks another dirty sink next to the sink with the remnants of a sandwich he had made himself on it, pours himself a glass of water, all while staring at his phone, probably doing work, but I assume the worst. I lost my dang mind. Why couldn't he read my mind that I needed food and water and entertainment and a clean kitchen sink? I tell you this story because I just needed to communicate. I probably could have done that one specific communication in a better way. That one was up there with a 3 a.m. communication, but it was the spark that started the now many years long respectful communication. And let me tell you, I've never had dirty dishes in my sink again. Friends. And this is sort of about the people around you in the world. Could include siblings as well. This is actually a picture of my sisters and some girlfriends, just to show you that it does happen again, that you can again go out and have fun. Often people experience a change in their relationship with their friends. Are you the first one in your groups of friends to have a baby? The last? Set boundaries. You may not be late night clubbing, but you still want to hear about their dating woes or their work problems. Other parents going through the same thing can be priceless, which is the point really, or part of the point of any of the postpartum moms or dads groups. Finally, there are going to be countless decisions to make as new parents. Cloth diapering, sleep training, returning to work or not, college tutor or not, goes on and on forever. And around you, other parents are also making those decisions. Those decisions in and of themselves can be difficult and wrought with self-doubt or disagreements with your partner, like how warm the room is. And then add the Instagram effect, which is like, it's 3 a.m. and your baby's crying and you're deciding about how to sleep train. And did I mention that 3 a.m. isn't a good time for decision making? And you're on Instagram trying to distract yourself from the crying baby, and you're seeing the perfect family, all happy and sunshiny and well rested, and touting their sleep regimen, or perhaps even selling their sleep regimen. See where I'm going? Then you have a phone call with your sister, Danny, who's in the picture, who tells you that when she did the baby please sleep method, it just worked perfectly. Did you try that? Anyway, I believe that humans want to help each other. I really do. But be aware that these helpful suggestions can sometimes cause you to second guess your choices. Don't second guess yourself. You are doing your best. As my mother says, be the colander, only keep the pasta. Keep what works for you and discard the rest, knowing that people are coming from a place of love and almost always just want to help. Anyway, what I'm saying here is you do you. We're all different humans, even the babies. We all have different stories and different needs. So no one thing is going to work the same for everyone, not even different babies. All 3 of my babies had different needs. But man, it can really feel good to hear 6 other moms say, oh yeah, that happened to me too. And here are some things that helped me. So lean on your friends, lean on the groups, be honest with them about how incredible and raw and scary and joyful this whole thing is. And you are still you, I promise. Let's see, forward. Here we go. Parenting. Okay, so finally, before turning this over to these 2 other wonderful mommies, I'm going to say in closing that parenting does not ask you to be perfect. It asks you to be brave. Gather knowledge, talk to each other, trust your gut if it comes up ever. And that's not. You are capable. This is hard. And come up. See the calendar. That's my mom. And now we're going to hear from Katie and Alice, who I am so beyond grateful that they're going to lend us their stories as well.